Okay, so today I want to show you how I made this 7-segment display using mostly LEGO Technic pieces. And as I talk, this one counts from 0 to 9 because it's being driven by the Arduino Uno board. The R1 sits still, that is until I touch it, because there is this control panel on the back, and by turning those knobs I can control those individual segments. Now before we start, I want to tell you two things. First of all, I love displays and I have a lot of videos with segmented displays, like for example this one, where I have made custom e-ink-like displays based on the designs from YouTuber Posey, or this video with 7-segment display using the NeoPixel strip, or this transparent edge-lit 7-segment display, a 7-segment display made on breadboard, or the 7-segment electroluminescent display. Yeah, there are a lot of different displays on this channel. The second thing is the sponsor of today's video, which is PCBWay. They offer pretty much anything that you might need for your project, like of course PCB and stuff like that, but also services like CNC machining. And so I thought, can I make a Lego piece from aluminum like this big front panel? And yes, thanks to PCBWay, it's actually possible. This is the same or very similar part made from aluminum. It's heavy, impossible to bend or destroy, and it has this nice gold finish. And you can choose from a lot of different finishes. Here is the same piece, only sandblasted to give it this matte look. So yeah, you can make your Lego pieces made from aluminum if you want to. So back to our project. Again, this display is controlled by the Arduino Uno. This one is set with the controller board, but they both use servo motors for moving those segments. And that's this piece. And although it fits with all the other bricks, this one is actually not from LEGO, it's the aftermarket part called the Geek Servo. And servo motors are pretty cool. If I remove all those screws and open it, you can see that on the bottom there is the actual motor, and using all the gears on the back, as the motor spins, it's spinning very fast, it slowly rotates the main shaft on the top. Now what's special about servo motors is that the main shaft is also connected to a potentiometer, that's this thing on the front. If I remove the PCB, here you can see the connection between the shaft and the potentiometer, and as a result, this controller, this chip always knows the main shaft position, the angle of the shaft, which means that we can tell the potentiometer to rotate to a specific angle and it will rotate to that position. And I have this very simple test board connected to batteries, and as I connect the servo motor, I can rotate this knob and set the angle of the servo motor. And the servo motor has 3 wires, 2 are for the power supply, the red is for 5 volts and the black, or in this case the brown, is for ground, and the yellow one is the signal. And the signal is really just a short pulse, and based on the length of the pulse, it will either rotate to the left side, to the right side, or anywhere in between. So once we know how the servo motor works, let's put it all back together. And if we connect the gear and the rack, we can convert the rotation movement of the servo motor into a linear movement. And that's pretty much all that we need for our 7-segment display. I mean, except for the 7-segment display, we will use 7 of those servo motors, and instead of buying 7 of those test boards, control boards, you can get this one, which is designed to control 8 servo motors with those 8 knobs. But before we connect those servo motors, we need to put together those Lego pieces. This is the front plate, which can nicely fit a 7-segment design, where each segment is made from a beam that's 7 units long. You can get it in many different colors, or you can as well make your own. Again, this is the CNC'd aluminum part. For each segment, we will need 5 cross axles that are 6 units long and 2 cross axles that are 8 units long, and a lot of bushings, actually 14 of those, to secure those to the main beam. Let's start by inserting the 6 units long axles and secure them on both ends. And put them into the main beam in this pattern, so those 2 positions are not used yet. And then we will use the 8 units long axles to somehow secure this gear rack piece. For that we need 2 of those pieces, which has the axle on one side and the normal pin on the other side. Let's put the pin into the gear rack, and then to connect it to the axle we need this 90-degree angle connection. However, if we connect the gear rack only to one axle, it can wiggle and rotate around. So we will use those two same pieces again and connect them to the second hole on the gear rack, so the short axle goes there and the 90-degree connector connects to this pin. So with this part prepared, we can insert the long axle into this hole and secure it with the bushing. And do it also for the other side, but this time the bushing will go from top. Then we can insert everything into the main beam and secure this with two more bushings. In the end, we should have a segment that looks like this that will slide into the main panel. So was that simple? Well, we need to do the very same thing 6 more times. So let me fast forward a little bit, and after a while we should have 7 of those same segments. Again, they nicely fit into the main panel, but if we move them only by one unit, so they are aligned with the front panel, they are still somehow visible. So we probably want to move them more, and here comes the problem. If we move them outside of this main panel, it might be hard to put them back because everything is a little bit loose and not exactly precise. So for that reason, let's use 2 of those panels, one in some bright color and the other one in black color on the back side, and that way we can move those segments outside the front panel, but they should be still aligned with the front panel and easy to slide back. For connecting those 2 panels, let's use those special connectors, which will later allow us to connect more pieces. So with those 2 panels connected and all those 7 segments inside, it's finally time for servo motors. And there is one important thing which I haven't told you yet. You can control the servo motor using those 3 wires, but because of all the gears inside, you cannot turn the shaft by yourself. So we can insert the short 2 units long axle into the shaft, but we cannot connect the gear just yet. That will be the very last step. And although it seems there is a lot of empty space for those servo motors, that's actually not the case, and there is only one way how we can connect those. And since most of those holes on the servo motor are half the size, we need to use a special type of connector where one of those pins is also half the size. And we connect 2 of those servo motors together like that. And then using 2 more connectors, we connect 2 pairs together to form this shape where each servo motor is offset by 1 unit. And you can see how this nicely slides into the empty area in between those segments. And because of the 1 unit offset, the gear will actually push the gear rack against the other servo motor. That said, we will not connect those gears just yet because we need to secure those servo motors in place. And here comes another problem. There are no connectors on the top and there are no connectors on the bottom, so it's unfortunately impossible to connect those servo motors with the base plate. Now, I was using a lot of different solutions, including 3D printing a custom Lego piece, which worked surprisingly well. I have the Bamboo Lab X1 carbon printer, which means that I can print using the ABS, which is the same material used for the Lego pieces. But in the end, I've decided to go with standard Lego pieces, mainly using 2 of those 3x19 frames, together with few of those beams and a lot of connectors which I've already used for those segments. And of course there is a reason for that, because usually when you order those parts you might get 10 or 50 or hundreds of those, so I thought let's use them since I have those pieces anyway. That said, there is no right or wrong way how to connect those servo motors as long as they don't move. So to secure them in place, I've used another one of those plates. Which means that we have now 2 main pieces, the base plate with all of those segments and another plate with all those servo motors. Let's connect them together using 4 axles. And I think that this connection looks great because you can see everything inside, but it's worth noting that this connection is not the strongest one. Now you might think that now it's finally time to connect all those gears, but that's actually not the case. And that's because we don't know what is the position of those servo motors. It's possible that, for example, this one might be rotated all the way to the right side, so when we put in the gear, it will not be possible to rotate it even more to the right side, and it will not be possible to move this segment. So for that reason, before we connect the gears, we need to first connect the control board for all of those servo motors. The connection should be simple because the colors are the same, so yellow, red and black or brown. And then to make it work, we need to connect the power source, and you can do it in a few different ways. For example, to use a dedicated power supply, or you can get this kind of USB cable where the wires are exposed. Or same as in my case, you can use 4 AA batteries. In any case, once we connect it to power, multiple LEDs should be now shining, and by turning those knobs, we should be able to control all of those servo motors. So let's set all the knobs to the same position, and now we can finally add gears. So this knob seems to be connected to this servo motor, and if we add the gear, now we can rotate the knob and finally move the segment. So let's add all the other gears, and here comes another problem. The one in the middle, the one in the inside, it's kind of hard to squeeze in. My fingers are too big, and even when I was using different tools, it just wasn't working. And then I realized I still have the 3D printer, so I can 3D print a custom tool for this job. And so I have 3D printed this very simple gear holder tool, which makes it much easier to put the gear on the servo motor on the inside. And with that last piece, the LEGO 7 segment display is now finished. I mean, at least this manual version. The next time I will show you how to make it work with the Arduino Uno board, and hopefully in the meantime I will get more parts so I can build more of those displays and turn them into clock or some sort of counter, maybe like a YouTube subscribers counter, and maybe at some point in the future I might need 6 digits for that, maybe, we will see. If you want to build your own LEGO 7 segment display, I have collected a list of all the used parts, the link is in the description. Also, it's worth mentioning that this project was inspired by this video, where someone created a 16 segment display using only LEGO Technic pieces. You should definitely watch that video if you haven't seen it yet. That's all for today. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks and bye.